I have never read fanfictions in my life, so I thought this will be the perfect opportunity for me to read some former fanfictions that got rewritten and will be published this year. The first one is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Brigette Knightley, and the second one for this vlog is Rose in Chains by Soto. Both were fanfictions in the Harry Potter world. To be a little bit more detailed, Hermione fanfictions. So stories about Hermione and Draco. So let us see how this goes and if I will like the stories. The first book that I will read is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. And I have already started the book and 4 chapters in from 17, I think. It is 24% of the book, and we had 2 POVs from each person at this point, from Oriane, our female main character, and from Osric, our male main character. Oriane is a healer and she works in a research lab where she figures out how to heal certain sicknesses. And Osric has a sickness that can't be healed at this point. It is called Seath Wrath. Seath is the magic system in the body that every person has in this world that can use magic. And if you have Seath Wrath, your magic system will literally rot and you can't use magic anymore and will die on this sickness. And Oriane is his only hope now to heal this sickness. But Osric is one of the bad guys. He's a thief and an assassin. And healers like Oriane don't heal persons like Osric. So he spends a lot of money on her research to blackmail Oriane into healing him. And it works. So I enjoy the writing, I enjoy the magic system, I enjoy the world building of Brigette Knightley. And yes, if you know this was fanfiction, you see the characters with Oriane and Osric and which persons from Harry Potter inspired them, but that's it. Everything else is rewritten so far. And I really enjoy the banter between the characters, but what I miss at this point is tension between the characters. I don't feel that between them. They can't stand each other, they are enemies. And I don't see the lovers part at this point. But I have 76% of the story left, so I will continue reading and will update you in a bit. I am now halfway through the book, so 51%, and I can say at this point that the characters met each other a few more times now, but there is still no connection between them until the last meetup that I've read. There had a moment there, and that makes me excited for the rest of the book, because I can't wait for an emotional connection between the characters and an emotional connection to the reader, because it's lacking a bit there for me. I feel a bit distanced to the story and the characters. It is all written in third person, which is normally not a problem for me. So let's see if I can connect more in the second half of the book. So far it is a super fast and easy read. The writing is not 100% for me because as a non-native speaker I don't understand every word. I think that is also because of the setting Brigette Knightley chose for the book. And that is not our present time, but sometime in the past. So there are a lot of words made up for this world building. And as I said, a lot of uncommon words in present English that I'm not familiar with. I don't look them all up. It is not a huge problem. I can understand the meaning of the sentence and what the author wants to say, and that is everything I need. So I will go back and read more of Orion and Osric today, and we'll keep you updated. 78% into the story, so 5 chapters left at this point, and I'm warming up to the story and the characters. It is super slow burn, and I don't know if we get a happy end in this book with the romance, because we have only 22% left of the book. And at this point, I'm not sure if it is a standalone or not. If it is a standalone, we will get a happy end, but if not, we will see. There is now a little bit more tension between the characters, and Osric develops feelings for Orion. He doesn't like that he does that, because they used to hate each other, and they still do in some way. And Orion is super cold to him. She's just there to try to heal him so he doesn't die, because she agreed to try to heal him. There is nothing personal until one moment in the last 25%. And I'm living for these small moments. I can't get enough of that. And that is why I enjoy slow burn romance so much. So please give me more of that. And despite the romance, also the plot develops and gets really interesting with the last chapter that I've read. It was nothing that came totally unexpected, especially with the conversations in this last chapter. The results were pretty clear to me, but I can't wait to see how Orion and Osric handle this situation now, and how this will influence this world we are in. The stakes are high now, the tension is there, and I can't wait to continue. I can inform you that this book is definitely not a standalone, and this will be a series, because all the plot points are open, the romance is open, nothing is finished, and I'm definitely open to read book 2. It won't be my favorite new series so far. I liked book 1 and I finished it yesterday. There is way more banter and tension between the characters in the last quarter of the book, and some spicy scenes that I cringed about. Not because the scenes itself are cringe, but because for me the scenes didn't fit the vibe of the book. The whole book so far was very young adulty, and then suddenly we got some spicy scenes. No, for me these spicy scenes were absolutely not necessary, felt completely out of place, and I didn't need them. I don't think they added something to the story. They were just there for some spice in the book. Yeah, not for me. But I like that the characters got more vulnerable, that they showed feelings which made it way more easy to connect with them. Because most of the time in the book they are super not cold but unemotional and fixed on their jobs, their goals, and that's it. I didn't like that so much. So the last quarter of the book was way more for me, And that's the point why I consider to read book 2. I don't know when book 2 will be out, because at this point I'm filming this, and as you're seeing this, book 1 isn't even officially out. The official publishing date is July 8th, so you have to wait around 4 weeks to read this yourself. But I couldn't wait, I wanted to read my arcs. And so here we are now. And I think I didn't even tell you which fanfiction this was before it was completely rewritten. This was Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. And the next book I'm reading for this blog was the fanfiction The Auction. It is now also completely rewritten, and it is now Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. And I can't say I already started the book. I'm 50% into the story, and this is way more my personal taste. It is more adult in the writing. It is darker. The characters are more emotional, and I really am intrigued by the storyline from the start of the story. Our main characters are called Bryony and Toven, and we start the story in the middle of a war, and Rory, the twin brother of our female main character, is the prince of the one kingdom, and Toven is one character on the other side of the war, so from the enemy kingdom. And they had a treaty for years now, but there is a prophecy that Rory can unite the kingdoms again in this one night, but he dies in this fight, and Bryony and some other female characters get kidnapped and arrested. And I know at this point that the auction was mentioned. There are two different kinds of magic in this world. One magic that uses the brain as a source, and one that uses the heart as a source. And one kingdom uses this magic and the other kingdom uses the other kind of magic. And that's why they had this whole fallout over the different kinds of magic, because the heart magic is completely forbidden in the other kingdom, because it drains the persons out way more, and persons that are using heart magic can use an external power source, so they can use other people against or with their will, and doing it more and more against the will of the other person. And now at this auction, Bryony and the other women should get sold as new power sources for the hard magic users. So they should be slaves from now on. We had one flashback so far from Bryony 8 years before, where she went to school with her brother and with Toven. And Toven is the only character which knows that Bryony also uses heart magic to help her brother, which is completely forbidden for her because she is from the brain magic users. And now they are on different sides of the war. Toven was one of the persons to arrest the women in this fight where her brother died. And that's where I am now, 50% in and completely intrigued. And this is totally enemies to lovers vibes, which I love. The irresistible urge to fall for your enemy was more haters to lovers, not really enemies. So I'm here for it, and I can't wait to read more. I am now 46% into the book and I can say I really, really like it. It has 5-star potential for me and I can't wait to read more today. We had the auction now and know now which person got Bryony in the end and where she ended up. There was a lot of trouble and action and fighting at the auction. At the point where I'm at now, we had some losses on both sides, and I'm really sorry for some of them. I'm rooting for Bryony's side, so the Eversun people, but I'm also rooting for Tavan and really crossing my fingers that he is a recent Orc Xaden or like Rip from the Plated Prisoner series. And I am now at a point where Bryony starts to question some behavior, some decisions, and I think she is right to question these things. So I'm also very much rooting for that. And we didn't have a lot of Toven at this point, but I'm still already in love with him a bit and can't wait to see him more, to see his actions more than his words, because he is a man of actions and his actions tell so much, which is why I fell in love with him already. So I can't wait to continue now and I will keep you updated. I'm currently reading Rose in Chains and I'm now at 72% of the story. So 3 hours and 50 minutes of reading time left. And I'm still really liking the book. I'm loving the characters, I'm loving the banter, the tension, the slow burn. I like all of it. I also like all the side characters. There is really so much potential in these characters for future plot and character development that I can't wait to see and read all of that. And I can't wait for the romance to getting in further, but I'm also enjoying that it goes really slow and that we have a lot of tension. I can't say much to the plot at this point. Most of it is character driven, which I personally really enjoy. It is a lot of conflicts, inner monologues, moral questions, and I can't wait to read more of that, which I will do now. Hopefully I will read the rest of the book today. I have nothing else planned for the rest of Sunday now. So wish me luck and I will see you for the last update of this vlog. I know Rose in Chains isn't even out yet, but when can I read book 2? Because I need more, I want more, I'm addicted. And I can't wait to read more about Tavan and Bryony. They are my perfect fantasy couple, a strong female character that haven't found its full potential yet, and a real morally grey male main character. And they have such a cool slow burn romance that is full of tension but not much spice yet. But on the other side, there is still so much distrust, so much enemies vibe, haters vibe, but not fully committed because of the tension and the feelings between the characters. I love it. Chef's kiss. I'm in love with Tavan. He is one of my favorite male main characters in my fantasy romances. together with Recent, Zayden and Rip from the Plated Prisoner series. And I would compare Rose and Chained mostly to Plated Prisoner because it is dark fantasy. Please check the trigger warnings before reading, I beg you, because it is really dark. It has a lot of triggers and you should be aware of that. There are things mentioned like SA and abuse, like torture and death, and these are constant topics in the story, so not just in certain scenes, which is why I talk to you about it. But I inhaled this whole story and I'm sure I could have read this book in one sitting if I hadn't other things going on. So even if it's not something super new, super inventive, this is a 5-star read for me. Just because I inhaled the story, loved the characters, loved the potential of the story that is still there, and because I want to read more so much. So fingers crossed we don't have to wait that long to get book 2. There isn't a publishing date yet, so we have to wait for further reveals, or I have to wait. And what I can say after reading The Irresistible, Urge to Fall for Your Enemy and Rose and Change, they are two completely different stories, two completely different vibes. I'm vibing more with Rose and Chains, but that is completely personal. And these two books show perfectly that you can give the same premise to different authors and they can write completely different stories with completely different vibes. That is the case here. As I said before, the books were both Hermione fanfictions, so stories about the characters Draco and Hermione. But for traditionally publishing, they were both completely rewritten. And yes, you can see the inspiration if you know about it, but that's it. They are completely different now, completely in their own world building. The authors created their own characters that are inspired by the source material. But that's it. And I love everything about it. And if you let yourself as an author be inspired by other authors and stories, do it like Brigette Knightley and Julie Soto, because they did it perfectly. And I'm not 100% sure if I will read more of The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, but I will definitely read more of Rose and Chains. And I will get 100% a deluxe hardcover edition of this book. I want this on my shelf. That is how much I loved it. And with that, I can't wait to read Alchemized in fall. I already pre-ordered that and will include it then in one of my vlogs. And I know you have to wait a little bit to read the books I've read in this vlog because they were both arcs. So thank you from me to the publishers that I was able to do that. And I really appreciate that. And if you have liked this vlog, please tell me in the comments if you have read any fanfictions yet, and if yes, which ones are your favorite? Because maybe after that I dive into fanfictions. I don't know yet. I have a lot of books on my TBR, a whole shelf, and they all want to be read at some point. So these are my priority for now. But we'll see what the future brings. Like the video if you wanna follow my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye!